Pronto, Vincenza.
Oh, pronto, Randy. And welcome everyone to the Pronto podcast, where we just talk about all the beautiful things life has to offer, lifestyle, inspiration. Oh gosh, even just stories and everything that that's happening, but more importantly, an opportunity to feature some incredible people and influential leaders throughout the community. We're just so excited to come together and give them all a platform to speak on.
Yeah, we've been incredibly lucky to have this quality guest that we have on.
Oh my goodness, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just last week we had Olivia Buckle, actress, model, producer, director. I mean, she's just incredible. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch or listen to that episode, I highly recommend that. But also so many people before that, but also more to come.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're successful people, but I think they're kind.
Yes. Totally agree with you on that. So
yeah.
humble, so kind, so influential, inspiring. I love hearing everyone's journey. That's my favorite part is that I hear their story. I hear their journey. I hear their story, and they share that with us. And some have been very, very transparent about what they've been through. And I appreciate that because sometimes you need to be inspired, right? Every once in a while, we need a little jolt
Lessons.
to be exactly. So, excited for all of the past guests and for the future guests, but really excited about today's guest. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask, how was your Valentine's Day?
It was uneventful.
Uneventful? Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but that's okay. Well, I mean, how was business? How was
business?
The salon?
Was really good, and gift certificate business. I was thinking of you Valentine's night.
Right. We were very busy at the restaurant at V&M Bistro. Valentine's Day is the second busiest holiday of the year, and it was not just a busy day; it was a busy couple of days building up to Valentine's Day and even the days following, because Valentine's Day fell on a Tuesday. So we were very busy building up to that particular day and then the days after. But it was a great experience, I like to say, but more importantly, so grateful for my team, because it truly does take a village, right? We say that all the time. It truly does take a village. And I was very grateful for my team. They did amazing, all the way from the chef, the pizza maker, the dishwasher, the bartender, the host, the servers, the bussers, and even my family. I had the whole family working, mom, dad, my sister, my two brothers, everybody, all hands on deck, because we had to, with it being such an important day for so many, and one of the busiest holidays in the restaurant industry, we felt, okay, everyone needs to be there to provide that support. So we survived.
I'm curious, what's the busiest?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. I didn't even think of that.
Right. For us, I would say Mother's Day and Christmas Eve. I think Christmas Eve for V&M Bistro happens to be, I just think it's like the fan favorite for our clientele. I also feel that the restaurant is so beautiful around the holidays because of the decorations and the lights and
the whole family.
Feels. Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. But they say in the restaurant industry, Mother's Day is the busiest holiday. But I think for V&M Bistro, it's Christmas Eve. Yeah. Well, I want it to be every weekend, though. That would be nice, right? Every weekend is the busiest day.
Your weekends are really busy. This weekend we have the bridal show, right?
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know about this, you should. So if you are, let's say if you're getting married or you know someone that's getting married, I highly recommend that you take advantage and look up Weddings Today event. So Delaware Today magazine is hosting Weddings Today event, which will be held this Sunday at the Executive Banquet and Conference Center from 12 to 3 p.m. You can find out all that information. Just go to DelawareToday.com and you'll search the wedding show that they're having for the 2023 season. I've had the opportunity to assist with the fashion show part of it. So it's this beautiful big expo that they have where they invite all vendors from all around the area come together, and they all are able to showcase what they're offering, their business, if you're planning a wedding or a special occasion. event, but I am brought on as the producer of the fashion show. So I'm in charge of recruiting all the models, making sure that they go to all their fittings with the participating vendors that are participating in the fashion show part of it. But Currie Hair, Skin, and Nails, it will be providing the hair and makeup services for some of the models, as well as some other vendors as well. So Randy's team will be there. We're really excited to partner with you guys. You guys helped us last year, and the models looked absolutely beautiful. And of course, and just to make note, there will be other participating vendors as well donating their services, whether it's hair, makeup, flowers, the outfits that the models will be wearing. So we do have quite a few participating vendors for the show itself.
If you're involved, it's going to be perfect.
Oh, thank you.
I have got to know you. You're a perfectionist.
Oh, I thank you. I try to always. It's funny because I'm a firm believer in consistency is key, right? And I've been doing this for a few years now. I think I'm on my 6th year of partnering with Delaware Today magazine for their annual event, the bridal event. And I'm always like, okay, what can I do to be better? What can I do to improve? And I'm like, okay, just, consistency. But what I've learned is to be flexible and to be able to bend, because not everything will be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. And that is something that I've learned to do actually in the restaurant industry. And I apply that mentality and everything that I do, whether it's producing this fashion show or producing the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant, I'm always keeping in mind that being flexible and being able to bend, because not everything will go as planned, and you have to just go with the flow. Sometimes you're organized, you're prepared, you're on time, but you have to learn how to bend.
Yeah, I think commitment is the word, right? When you're committed to something, you're giving it your all. That doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but it's going to be you're giving your all, right?
Totally agree. That's actually my favorite word. Commitment. Yep, that's one of my favorite words, because I feel that if you say you are going to commit to something, like I made a commitment to my state title holders that I will be their director all the way through. I will follow through with that word. And if I'm not able to make that commitment, I make sure that I say it up front before moving forward. And that's with anything you do in life. I'm not a quitter. I'm not one to throw the towel in early. I just know if I say I'm going to do something, I am a woman of my word. So
that's a great
I like that
quality.
Thank you. Thank you. You are too. You are too, Randy. It's not about me. Let's talk about you a little bit. You are too.
But, you have another big event coming in April.
Yes.
April 30th.
Oh, wow. You know that date so well, don't you?
I thought you were doing it to celebrate my birthday, honestly.
So it's April 3rd or 30th happens to be Randy's birthday, but it happens to be the big annual event for the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant. And Currie Hair, Skin, and Nails and Randy's team happens to be a sponsor, as well as many other incredible sponsors that have come together to help with producing the annual event. And it is big. We're gearing up for it. Actually, right before I arrived, I was actually making sure that we were having all of the staging correct, because I'm very particular about the details, and I want to continue to elevate the pageant every year as best as I possibly can, while giving all of my contestants a great experience, because I think that's what's most important, is that they enjoy the experience.
And I wanted to mention, if you need a judge, I would be glad to step in.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind.
As a birthday present to me.
Oh, I'll keep that in mind. We'll see about that. But just gearing up for the pageant has been truly exciting for me as well, because it's also preparing for the new year for the title holders, and I'm really excited for that. But there is still time to enter. So if anybody that is listening or knows someone that may be interested in joining the sisterhood, you can go to MissDelawareUSA.com and you can apply today. Registrations are still open, so you can apply if you want to compete in the teen division or the Miss division. But look on the website for all the details to see if you're eligible, and apply, and we'll see. You never know.
What are the qualities they're looking for?
So there's many things that the judges look for. One of them you actually mentioned: commitment. Yes, that's why I said that's a very good word. Making sure that you understand that, okay, I'm signing up for something. I may not know everything about it, but I'm making the commitment. So that's something to, I always say when a title holder wins, you made a commitment now to the organization. Now, there's so many other parts of the experience that I'm a big believer in, that it is in fact a sisterhood, and you meet so many incredible people. Some of my bestest of friends are from every single pageant I competed in. So I was not only able to really make friends and really network and market myself, but also develop these skills. So these lifetime skills that I apply in my everyday career, even to this day. I would not be speaking on this podcast or doing the television gig that I have as well with Good
Right.
Morning Wilmington if it weren't for me taking that chance and entering into the Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant when I was 15 years old. And I had no idea what I was doing, really. I was clueless to it all. But I look back at that and I am so grateful that I did make that decision, because it really did shape me into the person that I am today, and helping me develop the communication skills and public speaking skills that I'm able to communicate with a total stranger with confidence. And that's really what it's all about. Confidence is key. So, anybody that may not be sure or hesitant, I am a firm believer in giving it a try. So, you never know. You never know the outcome. But anyway, I think that we should definitely take this time to introduce our guest. What do you think, Randy?
I can't wait.
Yes, I know. I'm super excited. Obviously, in the restaurant industry,
Right.
I was really excited about this one, but it's an honor to have the Lisa Keys is a multi-award winning home cook, mother, grandmother, and retired physician assistant. Entering and winning cooking contests since 1990, Lisa's recipes are well published in nationally known magazines, cookbooks, and online publications, representing brands like Sargento Cheese, England's Best, and Pillsbury. Lisa has won over $100,000 in cash and prizes, including a most memorable food tour in France. Traveling throughout the USA, Lisa has competed in more cook-offs than she can count, including the World Food Championships, Pillsbury Bake Off, and the Kennett Square. I know this one, the Kennett Square Mushroom Festival. She is a certified food champ judge and a steak cook-off judge. Lisa's also a food blogger and brand influencer. 3 years after the death of her son, a U.S. Navy corpsman, Lisa began a public grief journey, becoming a Food Network top champion and TEDx speaker. Her inspiring food blog, goodgriefcook.com, followed and continues to nurture Lisa's philosophy that preparing and sharing food with others is an extension of one's heart and soul. Please welcome Lisa Keys. Hi, Lisa.
Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's such an honor to have you. Just your bio alone, it just gives me the chills. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Randy, we have really a big deal person on the show with us.
Right.
This is so exciting. Well, Lisa, I know that you have so much to be proud of. And I really, really appreciate that you are being so honest with us about your purpose of why you do what you do every day. And I think that's what I want to start this interview with. And I would love to touch on this one because I feel that your purpose is your son. And I would love to really, and again, our heart goes out to you, your family, and thank you for being so honest about this. But I really wanted to let our viewers and our listeners know that, tell us about that journey and, why you became, I guess, decided Good Grief Cook. Let's talk about that and touch on your son, please.
Okay, so, baking and cooking, I feel like those have always been my superpowers from the time I was a little girl. I was just always very passionate about, especially baking. Being in a big Italian family, food was just always really important. And I felt like sharing the things that I created more friends for me. So when I talk about superpower, it was a way of just positively being involved with, making something, sharing it. You make some friends, you make people happy. And little did I know that later in life, that passion for baking would actually become more like therapy for me.
Mm.
And that would, happened in 2011 when my son was killed in a car accident.
Mm.
He was a U.S. Navy corpsman. He was, just an inspiring young man, very smart, very brave, loved his family, loved his country, and loved his friends. And when he died, my biggest fear was that people would forget him, or that
Mm.
I would forget him. So baking and just became a way of me being more inspired by him. And it led me to create the blog because there were things that happened that made me feel his presence, especially when I was in the kitchen. Um, he usually would show his presence. I felt like he died really young and he wasn't ready to go, and his
Mm.
energy was still there with me.
Right, right.
And he would come to me in the shape of a heart.
Ah.
And so weird things would happen. And I would think, God, am I crazy? But I would be sad and I'd go for a walk because energy is really good when you're grieving. I mean, exercise is really good. And I would step onto a path and there would be a heart-shaped rock. And
Wow.
I reached for the rock and I felt like I was getting a bear hug embrace from him.
Oh.
And I'd look around like thinking he was actually there.
Mm.
And then on another day in the kitchen, again, feeling sad, I decided it was the first time I decided to make a recipe like more inspired by him and the
Mhm.
things that he liked. And so I made a chocolate chip cookie recipe and added some Jack Daniels to the recipe because he
Oh,
liked to drink Jack Daniels with
okay.
Coca-Cola. And so there was a transformation in the kitchen that day for me, in that uh, when I went to take the cookies out of the oven, one of the cookies, all the cookies are perfectly round usually because I use a cookie scoop to measure them out. There was a cookie that was closest to my hand that was in the shape of a heart.
Wow.
And I thought, my goodness. And again, I felt that same bear hug embrace. And I thought, I wondered if other people who had lost someone had felt this sort of energy with their person.
Mm.
And that's when I decided to create the blog.
Okay.
Um, and I said, well, it would be a place where I could share memories of William. Um, I could share my recipes that are inspired by the places I've been and the people I love. And then maybe, just maybe, other people would read it and share their experiences with me. And particularly, I wondered, did they feel this energy like I was
Right.
my son, which made me actually think I was pretty crazy.
No,
Right,
no. You were listening and paying attention to the signs.
Right, exactly. There are signs. I call them whoosh moments. Um, so I figured with cooking and baking and recipes, a lot of people are interested in that, and that maybe that would bring people to the table of my blog.
Okay.
And it did. The blog turned out to be so much more than I ever thought it would be, in that you learn you are not alone. Basically,
Yes.
that the tides of grief are normal. You have these
Mhm.
ups and downs, and that people do really feel the presence of their loved ones. And
That's so true.
it those people are inspiring to me. And prior to the blog, I was really quite a private person, so it was really I also vowed to sort of follow in my son's light. He was very brave. He often stepped out of his comfort zone. He always took the road less traveled,
Mhm.
much to my chagrin. Um, and so I think you tend to take on the traits of the person you lost, hoping to sort of carry them along.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I appreciate that you said that because even though that many people experience grief and they don't some actually many don't know how to navigate it. And the fact that you were able, for one, you were very proactive in trying to help yourself and go through the hurdles because again there's no cookie cutter way of going through it and okay if you take these steps you will be healed. That's not how this works.
Yeah,
And
does it
you
differently.
right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You did what was best for you and your family, and I appreciate that you were able to take your love for cooking and make it more, and
Yes.
obviously do it in your honor the honor of your son and keeping his legacy alive and wanting to remember him and making sure that he's not forgotten, and he's not. He really isn't.
Yeah.
I've learned that because he had so many friends all over the world, from the military to high school to wherever he went. He made friends, and those people have all reached out
Wow.
and shared their story. I mean, if I had to give anyone some advice about how, if you've never experienced grief and you're going to a funeral or something, share a story
Mm,
with the person who's grieving, because you might know things about that person that the people who are grieving don't know.
right.
And those stories were very uplifting to me, the good, the bad, and the ugly of my son.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
That that's good advice. That's
Yeah.
very good advice.
Yeah.
Share stories to help
Sometimes you don't
those
know
that
what
are
to say.
grieving.
You just
Mhm,
don't know what to say. And
mhm.
I'm sorry isn't enough, but sharing a story, if you're, like me, I love talking about my son. So it wouldn't,
Right,
and you're afraid you're going to make the person cry by bringing up the person, but who died, but
right.
it's really a good thing.
Good. I'm glad you said that, Lisa. I think
Yeah.
that's important that for those listening that, is a piece of advice that if you know that a loved one or someone you know or a friend is grieving, that, saying, I'm sorry, maybe isn't always enough. And maybe, like you said, sharing a story really can help uplift them and remind them of those beautiful moments. And I appreciate you saying that because it's important to be reminded of that and what, and everything that you've gone through. And now that you are on this incredible journey with the culinary, I call it the culinary arts, the culinary world, right? And you obviously have that beautiful reminder of your son by your side because he's looking over you and he's giving you that courage and that confidence day in and day out. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of that. But I wanted to talk about obviously go back into the Good Grief Cook blog and whatnot, but also talk about the TEDx talk because you had an opportunity to be a speaker. So what was that experience like?
Well, the TEDx talk was like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute,
Oh
really.
wow.
It was scary because
Yeah.
I'm in my 60s now, and um, you're really supposed to do a presentation without notes
Mm-hmm.
and, by memory. And so to be able to get up, and I'm not a public speaker by any means. So that was pretty frightening to get up in front of an audience and do that. But I'll again following William's light, stepping out of my comfort zone. That was the plan, and it was a great experience. I mean, it was at Furman University down in Greenville, South Carolina, and
Okay.
the audience was fantastic. The people. It was college students who put on the program, and they were amazing. It's just, sometimes you worry about teenagers or and what their future is going to be like. Well, these kids were amazing, and you
Mm,
Wow.
feel like, oh, our future is in good hands with kids that are so bright and attention to detail and committed to what they're doing. And so it was a very, very good experience. And of course,
Right.
I gave everybody a recipe and a cookie, and
Oh, and they probably
the
appreciated
audience,
that.
everybody got something.
Lisa, would you do it again?
Oh, would I do it again? You know, I probably would. Knowing what this experience was like, I probably would do it again.
Okay, you never know. You never know.
In the picture, you looked really comfortable.
Oh, thank you.
Right. You can't tell. You said you were nervous. You can't
Well,
even
that's when
tell.
I was all done.
Yeah. Well, can I just say, they say in public speaking, where when you wear red, which I see you're wearing, you mean business. And that just is perfect. That's like
Really?
someone's power color. That's what they say in public speaking. So I'm sure that the presentation was incredible, inspiring. And if the opportunity comes up again, I feel in your heart that I think that you would do it again, because you know that either that your son
Right.
would be there with you
Yeah.
in spirit, and would guide you through that time, that experience again, and give you that extra, boost that you may need.
Right.
um, well, I appreciate that you also being very honest about that. Public speaking isn't easy, Randy. I know
know.
I still to this day get very nervous when I know that I'm speaking in front of a large audience. Still to this day, I get very nervous. And Lisa, this is what I was told in my many years of speaking, being part of speaking engagements, being on television and whatnot, is that if you get nervous, that's a good thing. That means you care.
Exactly. I agree.
And that means you very much care so much. So that's a good thing.
You always just want to put your best foot forward and do your best. And yeah, it made me really proud to be able to get up there and do that in the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, I want to shift gears just a little bit, because I'm really excited to talk about your experience on the Food Network, and the shows, the cooking shows that you've been on. So, okay, so let's go right into it. So I guess, what was your favorite part about being on a cooking show on television?
Well, being on Chopped was very exciting. The fact that I even got cast in the program was pretty amazing, because they get, thousands of applicants.
Mhm.
The judges were all wonderful, really kind, and it is exactly as you see it on TV, I would say. You really do not know what's in the mystery basket. And then for me, once I get into a kitchen, any kitchen, and start cooking, it's like I am in my happy place. So I thoroughly enjoyed the experience on Chopped. And the fact that I won $10,000 was nice, but I think more what it represented, the victory was more like just this pure love energy from my son, because
Yes.
again, at the end, I made those same chocolate chip cookies with, the variation with the ingredients that were in the mystery basket. But again, in the end, it's like I felt his presence just cheering me on. And I knew I was going to win. I did.
You knew it.
Yeah.
It was a feeling that was over you, that confidence that just came
Yeah.
over you, I'm sure, in that moment, because I'm sure it was nerve wracking in the heat of the moment. I'm sure it's nerve wracking, but he was with you, and congratulations on that victory. What an honor. That was, oh my gosh. So have you had a chance to go back and beyond? I know that sometimes they always bring back winners in other shows. Have you had a chance to go back?
Not on that show. I haven't been on that show again.
What other experiences could you share with the audience that you maybe want to mention, that you've been on, maybe another television show or cooking show?
I was on and won a Behringer wine TV
Okay.
show. It was called the Great Steak Challenge, and that was
Mm.
really fun. I was on a Southern Living magazine recipe contest show, and I won first place in my category there.
Amazing.
Yes.
Go, Lisa.
Congratulations. Wow. So I guess when the pressure's on, you thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, well, you know what? This has been going on in my life for over 30 years. So it's just been I've been very fortunate, and it it has afforded us, we've gone to places, we've traveled all over the United States and in doing these recipe contests, and it's just been some fun times for us, and made friends all over the country, like-minded. It's
Mhm.
kind of like this niche group of
Right.
people who love to compete with food. So we're like a big happy family, really.
That's good that you were able to connect with so many people from around the world.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of traveling, it says here that you also had a food tour in France. Is that correct?
Right. That was another prize that I won.
Okay. Well, could you share a little bit more about that experience?
That was through Pepperidge Farm. They had a recipe contest, and the grand prize was a trip to France for two.
Wow.
And we went to Paris, and then we traveled through the south of France, and we ate our way through.
Wow.
Did some cooking classes. You really are in the heart of a country when you are in a kitchen. I feel like food is you know, breaks all the language barriers, and
Right.
the people of France were just so kind and so nice, and I learned a lot of great cooking techniques, and yeah, it was great. We talk about it to this day. It was such a fun experience, and we
Right.
were there for 2 weeks, and my daughter actually joined us the second week,
Very nice.
so that
Oh,
was
what a great experience.
Wow.
Well, Europe is absolutely beautiful. I know that, Randy, you've been to Italy before, and I always say that Europe in general is a beautiful place to visit. But when it comes to food, I just say that Italy, hands down, has the best cuisine in the world. And if you had the opportunity to visit Italy, I highly recommend it. Lisa, have you ever had a chance to visit Italy before?
that's what I used my chopped $10,000. We went on a trip to Italy.
Oh,
Great
wow.
choice. That's a true chef right there.
Yeah.
Knows we're going to go where the best of the best is in the culinary world. It
My
really is
first visit
beautiful.
to Italy, I was with a guy, and he took me to a restaurant. He said in broken English, he said, "You never say you hold something. Like if a salad has tomatoes, you don't say
Oh,
hold the tomatoes." He says, "You take what they give you."
okay. That was very good
So yeah,
advice. Right. Very good
yeah,
advice. Don't mess with the
yeah, yeah,
chef's
yeah,
menu.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
important
yeah,
because that
yeah,
very good
yeah,
advice. Your friend
yeah,
knows.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that that trip to Italy was just incredible. Did you have an opportunity to travel throughout the country, or was there a specific place that you really admired the most?
Well, we went there for a wedding, actually, and we were based in Rome, but then did a little venturing outside into more of the countryside where the wedding took place.
Oh, how beautiful. A wedding in Italy is just incredible, but
Yeah.
Rome is beautiful.
Yeah,
I always share this with everyone. If you've never been to Italy, put Rome on your bucket list. And
Right.
Rome is like a trip in itself, in my
Yes.
opinion, because it's so magnificent.
yeah,
So
The
old.
Right, yes. Oh gosh, the history, right?
Yeah.
The
yeah,
history that, and the architecture, but just the fashion and the food,
yeah.
everything is just so incredible. So, I always say it's a trip in itself. But actually, Lisa, we have a question from one of our listeners. I
Okay.
think I may know the answer. What is your go-to recipe? I wonder if I'm going to get it right in my head.
Well, all right. So I'll do a sweet and a savory, I
Okay.
guess. So savory would have to be an old family recipe for manicotti. I don't know how
Yeah.
you pronounce it, but we call it manigot. And I make homemade crepes and a cheese filling, and that's
Mm,
it. There's the
Ah,
picture.
it's
And
like artwork.
yeah, homemade
those are
sauce.
delicious.
Everything fresh from the garden if you can
Oh,
get it. And then sweet would have to be my grated bread and chocolate cake, which is inspired by
Mm,
my very frugal people who came before me, my parents and you never wasted anything in the kitchen.
that's
And
right.
this cake is made from leftover breadcrumbs and leftover a little bit of wine left in the bottle, and among other things. But what's so wonderful about this cake is that it won my biggest prize, $25,000
Wow.
from America's Test Kitchen.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you. And it was sort of a real gift. I won this contest about a month after my son passed away. And so, the fact that it was inspired by my family, I felt like, he had a little part in me winning, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
Congratulations on another big win.
Yeah.
And I love that you can tell you pour your whole heart and soul in your recipes. And I do appreciate that. Oh, we have a follow-up question from one of our listeners. Are these recipes in one of her books?
Well, I have never written a book, but
Okay.
they are on my blog. Both of
There
them
you
are
go.
on the blog, goodgriefcook.com. And you'll find them there. Grated bread, chocolate cake, and then,
I'm
search.
hungry.
yeah. I have a question.
I'm hungry.
When can we come over for dinner?
Oh, yes.
Oh, anytime.
Randy just invited us over, just so you know. That's a great idea.
When you first came on, you hit home with me because when I first moved down in this area, I was from the Pittsburgh area. I was living with my Italian aunt, and she I was thinner, and she would try to feed me like
yeah.
ungodly amounts of food. Like for breakfast, I would come down and she would have 8 eggs waiting for me,
Mm.
toast,
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, no such thing as a small
Pretty
portion.
difficult. And you better
Exactly.
finish everything on the plate too, or it's insulting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh goodness, this is so true with the Italian culture. It's so funny. Don't change the recipe. Don't ask for anything to be whole, and you better eat everything on that plate.
Yeah.
sounds like the Italian culture. Lisa, I know that you, with your experience in the culinary arts, I'm sure you've learned so much through your journey. What piece of advice would you give someone that may want to enter into the culinary world and then maybe it's just not sure?
Well, I would say if you love to cook, if you love to bake, really look at it as an extension of your passion.
Mhm.
I think for me, I always love the science of it.
Mhm.
People always say, "Why are you so slender? You cook all this food." And I say, "Well, for me, it's more about the magic of the cooking and the science of it, coming together in a balanced dish. It's not about, eating it all up."
Right.
And if you feel like, it makes people so happy when you share what you make.
Mhm.
And so, don't be afraid to just make something, share it with your neighbors, share it with your family, bring it to your coworkers. You get some feedback. Um, and, if I don't think I could ever make a career out of it myself because I think it would ruin the fun.
Mm.
Um, just, I don't,
Right.
yeah, just do it. Just do
Right.
it.
And
Yeah.
I love that you said if you have a passion, you have your heart's in it,
Yeah.
then you should do it. Just
Yeah.
do it. Don't think, just do it. Lisa, I'm a third generation in the restaurant industry, and my father is a chef. He's an executive chef and a master pizzaiolo. So I grew up in the world of culinary arts and the cooking and whatnot. And even my grandmothers, them alone are like the master chefs, and they didn't even need to go to school, right? Right. They're like a pinch of this and a touch of that. That's how they measure everything, right? But
Impressed.
well, yes, I always say that it's their passion that makes the dishes, the heart that goes into it,
Yeah.
that makes that recipe come to life. You can take that same recipe and make the same dish, but if you don't have your heart into it and that passion into it, it will taste different.
Food
Right.
is love, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Love made edible. That's what I like to say.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's also why that when you enter into these competitions and you are so successful, I really believe that you do it with your whole heart, and then also your son,
Yeah.
in memory of him and honoring him. And that's a beautiful, beautiful message to send to so many.
Well, you just want to be authentic, you know.
Mm.
I think that's the most important part of who I try to be. My recipes, I feel like they're definitely inspired by places I've been and people I love, and the ingredients that I'll grow in my backyard. And I think that if you have the authenticity about you,
Right.
then you are definitely more successful
Agreed.
in the food world.
Spot on. Really,
Right,
it's so
yeah,
true, Lisa.
yeah.
It's so, so true.
Yeah,
I love that you said that authenticity is
yeah, no
so important.
gimmicks, no
Yeah.
gimmicks
Yeah.
to it, really.
Yeah, that's so true. So, so true.
And that's the
Um,
advice I give to my up and coming friends who are entering
mm,
recipe contests. I just always say, cook your food. You cook
mhm,
your food, not try and cook somebody else's food. You will
mhm.
do well.
That's right. That's right. Um, Going back to your blog, Lisa, would you share with our guests and our listeners that are tuning in about what they can expect when they go to your blog? What other resources or things they'll learn so we can get them to go check it out and even just subscribe or follow?
Well, there really is two parts to my blog. There's lessons about grief, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them are just really difficult to write and to
Mm,
read. I think because they touch you in your heart, but you can see yourself there if you are also grieving, and so a lot of people have been inspired, by that part of it. And then there's the fun part, which is the adventures I go on because of
mhm.
cooking competitions, and then so a lot of my winning recipes are there, and tips and tricks, in the kitchen. So those are basically, I think, the things you'll find. Um,
Right.
I'm a self-taught cook. I'm a self-taught photographer. I'm not really a terrific writer, but I do my best.
Right. Right. And it's okay. You don't have to be perfect at it all. You just
Right.
know that you just do it.
Yeah.
And,
Somebody's asking me
it will
sauce
go.
or gravy. Do you see
Oh,
that?
yeah, I know. It's so funny. So question, sauce or gravy, Lisa?
Well, gravy has meat in it, and sauce is something that you doesn't have tomatoes in it for me. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
So sauce or gravy?
I'm a gravy girl.
All right.
It's not
Randy,
brown,
sauce.
it's not brown gravy.
Okay. Randy, sauce or gravy?
Gravy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm the oddball. I'm sauce.
Sauce.
That's all right. Whatever it is, as long as it tastes good, right? We're winding down with the interview, Lisa, and at the end of our interview, we always like to ask all of our guests a traditional question. So the question is, if you were to interview or chat with someone from the past or present on a podcast, who would it be and why?
Well, for me, the question will always, when you're a griever, you always want one more day with your person.
Yeah.
So it would be William.
Mm. That's special.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yes. And I know that I know that it would be something really important to you and to him. And I
I think
appreciate you
people would
saying
love
that.
to meet him.
That's right, Lisa.
Yeah, and just hear his story of, he declared when he was 5 years old he was going to be a Navy SEAL, and he never wavered, from that mission. And he was extremely uh, dedicated to that dream. Turned out he was colorblind, so he couldn't be a SEAL. So he decided to be a Navy corpsman and, save lives. And he did that. And, in spite of his mother trying to just get him to go to college and not go into the military, um, so extremely proud of him.
Yeah.
We can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can tell.
Sounds like the incredible guy.
Right. And for those listening and tuning in, I'm sure you can hear more about William's story on Lisa's blog
Right.
and his story, her story, and obviously resources and tips on how you go through the grieving process, because there is no right or wrong way.
Well, I would encourage anyone who is new to grief to just find something positive about your person to celebrate.
Mm,
And for me, it's through the cooking and the baking, but there's, so many other things you can do, fundraisers in honor of your person, or,
yes.
memorial bench, and, or school scholarship, anything that you can make something positive and something that you can be committed to and
I
work
love
on.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. We have another question here. Oh no, it's more of a statement. What an inspiration. And
Aw.
you are, Lisa. You really are. And I
Yeah.
thank you for just joining us and coming on Pronto podcast and sharing your story and William's legacy and celebrating him. And also your passion and love for the culinary arts, and continue to follow that journey. And hopefully, Randy and I will be able to come over for dinner. And you can, since he invited himself.
I want the cookies too.
The cookie. I know.
Oh,
I'm not
Yes, the
settling for
cookies.
just a
I
dinner.
actually left cookies at Glen Mills today.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
they'll probably eat them.
They're
all.
probably gone by
Yeah.
now. So it's a whiskey chocolate chip cookie. Is that what it is?
Yes.
A heart shape is. Do you go with the shape of a heart as
Uh,
well?
I do some cookies that are heart shaped, not that particular one, but other ones that I do that are heart shaped.
I
Yeah.
must try this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I must try this. So I love anything with okay, so at the restaurant, Lisa, that I own and operate with my sister, she creates boozy ice cream.
Oh,
And you may appreciate this.
yeah. Hmm.
She created this incredible delicious flavor of a whiskey chocolate peanut butter cup
Oh,
boozy ice
yeah.
cream. Doesn't that
Yeah.
sound delicious?
Yeah. It
Right. And
sounds
as
fantastic.
soon as you said the whiskey chocolate chip cookie, immediately I thought, oh my gosh, that has to taste delicious.
Yeah.
You can make a
So,
nice ice cream sandwich with the cookies and that ice cream.
Oh,
oh my goodness. All right, we're going to talk. You and I, we're going to connect because we need to collaborate between the boozy ice cream and your whiskey chocolate chip cookies. I totally think that's going to be definitely something that's going to be popular.
That'd be
Very,
great.
very
Yeah.
popular quickly. Well, Lisa, thank you
Yeah,
again
thank
for
you.
joining us on a Pronto podcast, and thank you for everything that you're doing, and continue to stay strong, continue to celebrate your son William, and also providing those the helpful advice with anyone that may be grieving. So we appreciate everything that you're doing and continue to do. So.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Lisa, take care. We'll see you soon, right, Randy?
Yeah. We're going to come for the love.
Right. Oh my goodness. Randy, that was so special.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Lisa's
She
amazing.
almost made me break up.
Right, right. Oh my gosh, I'm all about energies, and I felt her energy, and you can tell that she does this. Yeah, she has a passion for cooking. Yes, 100%, because it shows in her work. But there's so much more.
Yeah.
And that's her son. And I love that as she ties the two together and she shares her inspiration, and she shares her time when she may be weak or vulnerable, and that's important to know that nobody is perfect. And there's no right or wrong way going through, grieving on a loss. And it's important to talk about it. And I love that she said that. Her piece of advice was, when you meet someone or approach someone that has experienced loss, share a story versus just saying, I'm sorry. And it's okay to say, I'm sorry if you don't have the right words to say. And that's okay too. And paying your respects, but even just going a little extra step and saying, sharing that story or that memory, because I think that's what you always want to hold tight.
Yeah.
Right. The memories.
rest of your life.
Exactly. Oh, Lisa, we wish you so much luck in your journey and also in your career in the culinary world. And we cannot wait to come over for dinner. But more importantly, those whiskey chocolate chip cookies, right? That's what we're talking about. Okay. So I'm sure they're gone at all. That looked good too. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us here on Pronto. We are very excited for our next episode. Actually, we will be coming back to everyone. We will be in March. Wow, March is almost here. Where did February go? Right? But no, tune in March 13th. We will have another new guest. Very excited. So if you want to find out who that is, just follow us on all social media platforms. You can follow Randy Currie, or you can follow me at Chenza, or you can follow all the Currie Hair, Skin, and Nails location, because we are constantly promoting who our next guest will be here at Pronto. But also, if you're interested in joining us and interested in, wanted to be a guest on the show, definitely contact us. We're always looking for new guests to showcase here on Pronto. So, Pronto, Randy.
Pronto, Princesa.